Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. Well, today's the day. The tractor is going to officially transition from being just a pretty show car to an actual working vehicle. I had to make an extension for my electric power takeoff. The other one wasn't long enough. On the other tractor, this little situation is shorter. I don't know how that's going to be. What I mean is, I got used to that other tractor with a shorter tow bar, so going around corners and stuff will be a little bit different, but driving this thing's a little bit different, so it's a bunch of stuff to get used to. But this is how it's going to be, and quick show you how this all works. I've been talking about this electric power takeoff thing. So now all I'm going to do is, I got my PTO arm switch, PTO arm on, and then slowly ramp this up. Ramp that up. And PTO full. And then let it come back down to an idle. And you turn it off. So that's how that works. It just, like I said before, all that does is it slowly ramps up this motor so that there's not a huge inrush of current. I had to replace this fuse, that fuse there. It had a 50 amp fuse like this one, only slow burns. And this dude, it pulls like 100 amps when you kick it on into high speed, even after ramping it up. So it blew that fuse out. So this is a 250 amp fuse. It shouldn't ever blow with that motor. And I guess it technically could, but I don't ever pull that kind of power with it. But it will blow if something catastrophic happens, like something shorts or whatever. So, okay, well, stand by and I'll show you the field. Okay, here it is. It's not a huge field. It's maybe an acre. I don't know. It's been a while since I've cut it, but the grass is a little bit taller than my tires, so maybe 2 feet tall. Some of them is taller than others. But I've got the mower set on its high position, so oops. Mower is set on its high position, so it cuts down to about 6 inches or so. With the other mower, this uses not the whole pack. It doesn't use the full 2.5. So what I'm expecting is, I've reset this to 0, even though it's, well, not to 0, to 100%, even though it's not quite fully charged, but it should still be representative on state of charge. It thinks it's charged, so I'm hoping that by the time I get done with this field, it'll be at maybe 60%. That's what I'm hoping for. 50 would be okay, but 60 would be better. Okay, I'll get back with you later. See if we can't get a little action shot, lest you think I'm making it up. So electric lawnmower isn't exactly silent. The mower is silent, but the mowing isn't silent. We got blades whipping around, little bitty helicopters. We got big old thick stalks of grass getting chopped in pieces. But yeah, it seems to be working just fine. We're kind of pulling on average 50 to 70 amps, and that works out to 2.5 to 4 kilowatts. That's more power than my other mower pulls. It's the same amperage, but my voltage is different. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I've done about 5 rounds, and we're at 87%. Okay. Well, kind of as expected, things didn't really go as planned. My voltage started to just fall off a cliff while I was mowing. I was kind of shooting for 42 volts total. That's 3 volts per cell. And I've got 16 in series, so 3 volts per cell is kind of the lowest as you want to go. And I was going to maybe shoot not 42, but 43 or so. Well, they hit 45, hit 46, and man, these voltages just tanked. I did not get the whole field cut, so I need to go back to the shop and pull out the old voltmeter and see if maybe I might have lost a cell or something. One of these batteries might be damaged. So it's not exactly good, but kind of deal with it. All right, I'll let you know what I find out. Well, here's the situation, best as I can see it. I went module by module. And just checked their voltage. And it doesn't look like I've lost any cells. None of them are zeroed out. And then I went, each one of these little wires goes to an individual cell within these modules. And if you start on the black one, and then you do black one to that, it's one, the second one to the third, third to the fourth, fourth to the fifth, and on and on and on. And each one of them is, 3.1, 3.2, something like that. Then, mysteriously, when I got up to this one, so this last one here on the right, and this first one there on the right, 3.1, first one to second one is 9. That's weird. So something has happened on my wiring of these little cell taps. This thing, by the way, is just a cell balancer or equalizer. And what it does is it uses all these little capacitors here, and it takes the highest cell that it can find and drains drains voltage from it to the other ones, to the ones that are lower, and it balances all the cells that way. It's not exactly a battery management. It's a balancer. So, but I've wired it up wrong, so I've probably blown this out. That's all right. They're like $30. I mean, that's not all right, but it is what it is. So unfortunately, what that means is I need to go into all these cells here and trace each one of these little wires to where it is, because I've got these in the wrong order. The second one and the third, I think the second one and the third one are probably swapped. That's all that's happened, but I need to do that. I need to find out for sure. Unfortunately, that means I need to take this coolant reservoir off, which of course means I need to drain the coolant. I don't think that's going to be too hard though, because all I got to do is just come down here, pull that line off with a catch can underneath of it, and it'll just drain straight down from there, and it'll come out of that fitting, and that should be the end of it. And then pull this little tube off from one side or the other, probably here because it's a nut. I can unscrew it and go on the other side and just remove that line. Then pull the reservoir out and see what's up. So, oh, sorry about the whole finger in the camera thing. I will do that and let you know. All right, so yesterday I tried to do that front yard with the mower deck up high, sort of like a bush hog. It didn't really go well. The battery wasn't fully charged, and it started to run out of juice on me, and I got a little worried that I may have murdered a cell. But it turns out that I didn't. I went ahead and fully charged it between today and yesterday. This is where you get yourself into trouble with lithium-based batteries. If I were to have lost one of these, there are several cells inside of each of these modules, but if I would have lost any of them and then went to charge this thing, all the voltage that should have gone into it can't now, because it's basically a short. It's a direct short, and all that voltage goes to the other ones. And if, say, this one went out and that one was really close to as much as it can take, but it continued to charge, because the voltage from this one is now going into that one will catch on fire, and it'll burn your house down, it'll burn your shop down. It's a mess. Bad news. That's how, I don't know what the percentage, I'm going to throw out a number, 99% of all these battery fires happen, other than in accidents where something's punctured, but most battery fires happen because of an initial over discharge and then an overcharge. That's how it happens. But so the cool thing about this little battery management or battery equalizer, I got the cover off, is I got access to all the terminals of all these little wires, so I can just take a voltmeter and individually check every single one of these little cells that are inside these cans, which is great, because then I can monitor to make sure none of them are running away on me. And they weren't. And it charged fully to 57. The charger shuts off at 57.6-ish, and then it just sort of settles about 57.2. And that works out to about 4.12, 4.13 volts per cell. And that's right where you want it. These can charge as high as 4.2, but you're kind of starting to get into danger territory. So 4.1 is fine with me. And it looks like I've got about 4 kilowatt hours in this pack, which is, I thought it was going to have closer to 7, but this pack is definitely used and even abused. So I'm okay with 4. 4 means that I should be able to do my yard, and I won't be able to do 2 of my acre yards, but I'll be able to do 1 acre yard at a time, and then have some left over, go back in the garage, charge it up, and then do the rest as I see fit. But we're going to try that. We're going to try that now. I've got the percentage set to 100 amp hours, and so that means after I cut the grass, whatever I have left, that'll kind of tell me what my capacity is. So if I've got 40 left, that means that my capacity is 60 amp hours. 60 would be low. I'd like to see 70 amp hour capacity, but we'll see what happens. So, all right, I'll let you know. All right, guys, I guess it's time to try and bring this to a close. Well, this is some of the casualties of the weekend. When I was doing the tall grass, I had a battery issue. This is my equalizer, and I put a connector on wrong, and it burned this out. So that's dead. When I was trying to cut the front grass on part 2 of figure out how long this thing will cut, the grass, I guess, was too long, and this is my little motor controller. When I turned up the power to it, maybe I turned it up too fast, maybe there was just too much grass, too much resistance, and this thing blew out. So I replaced it with this one. This is a much larger controller, and amperage wise this shouldn't be a problem, but the problem is somehow, for some reason, I am back feeding 48 volts through it. So whenever the motor's attached, voltage is back feeding through the motor to this thing. It's kind of difficult to explain, but it is. And I blew this one out. I had an extra one, put it in there, tried to figure out a different way of using it, blew that out too. So that's no good. Over on this side, I figured since I can't cut the grass anymore, I can at least put the brakes on. I got new brakes, got them on eBay. That other master cylinder wouldn't bleed for some reason, so this new master cylinder hopefully is good, because these brakes just came off of a bike that was crashed. So new calipers, new master cylinder. I even made a new brake line, but I still can't get the damn thing bled. And I don't know, does anybody know how to bleed motorcycle brakes? They seem to be different than car brakes. But anyway, the battery is not dead. It's about half as much capacity as I thought it was, so that's good. And it did work good when it was working, so that's good. What else? Nothing. I started to work on this a little bit. I'll probably do that some more. I need to figure out how to bleed brakes. If I can't get the brakes to bleed, one of the problems I had with the bleeding the brakes is they do work like a little bit. Like they work enough that if I push the brake pedal down, I can't turn the hub by hand. Now, the motor doesn't have any problem turning it, and it's not nearly enough brake pressure to stop this thing. So, but the problem is the little pistons, they don't retract enough, and there's just some constant drag. That's annoying. So this whole hydraulic disc brake thing may be a wash, and I may end up just trying to figure out how to use the factory Cub Cadet brake. It's just like a little peg that sort of pushes on a little pin, and that pin pushes against a plate that's in the transmission, and that's sort of your parking brake. And that's really all I need, is just a parking brake. I don't need especially something to we need to stop this thing, because I've got my regen braking. Anyway, how would I classify this weekend? Semi-successful, a little bit expensive, but it was fun. I did enjoy getting this thing dirty. Graduated it from trailer queen to working machine. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.